Go.
Hey everybody, it's been a while, but we are back at Cypress Grove post Irma. We had a lot of stuff going on with cleanup and everything. I'm sure a lot of you have probably checked in with our videos that we posted during the storm and after the storm showing the floodwaters and the trees. We probably lost, what would you say, Don, like
25
16,
or 30?
20 big trees,
yeah,
along with a bunch of little cypress trees that just got snapped.
Right.
The tops just shaved right off. So between just cutting trees and hauling brush and trying to get everything back, because whenever the floodwaters came, it picked all the mulch and everything up out of everywhere and brought it up. We're finally back to a place I feel comfortable saying is where we were before Irma hit.
Right.
I mean, pretty close. We're going to walk down the path and you're going to see that we haven't completely finished some little things like we need mulch, but we're pretty close.
Okay.
So, as many of you probably remember, the water was all the way up into our yard from here, and then as we got back, this was all underwater. Actually up to almost my knee underwater. So once that receded, which was almost a week, it was full of brush and debris and trees and limbs and wrappers from things that I don't even know where they came from, 3 streets over. But we finally got that all cleaned off. We've been burning. You can see some smoke back there. We'll go back there in a minute, but you can see where the fire pit's been pretty busy. So this actually looks maybe a little bit better than it did before Irma came, because it gave me a really good reason to clean up. Here, the water again was almost up to our knees, so all these timbers that lined the path were just kind of floating. And they were just everywhere. There were some out there, there were some over here. So we finally got that cleaned up, and today we're just finishing up putting it, and then we're gonna get some mulch together. But it's almost back. This area right here, you can see some of our debris that we have left. I don't know if we really ever focused on it before, but you can see climbing all the way up that tree is our bougainvillea vine. And there was also another really super tall tree right there. You can see the top of it where it got broken off, and there was more bougainvillea vine climbing up there. Well, whenever that came down, a ton of bougainvillea vines came down with it, and if you've never
had the pleasure of handling bougainvillea, it has thorns that are massive.
Like this big.
Yeah, big thorns. They go right through your shoe.
Yeah, so Don's been working in this area. He's got it really looking nice. Thank goodness Grandpa's bench survived it. It was up to the seat in water. And we had to clean it. Like this tree got knocked over, and we're working on getting it down, but we're just going to plant some stuff on top of that. I think as the wood decomposes, it'll be a good mulch. So here's the path. The sign made it okay.
Yeah.
All these are new. All the plants died around the base, and if you look at the tiki garden back there, all those little plants are new because none of them survived. They were all drowned, but the actual statuary and the post is fine. All of our clusia made it. They were all laying down, but I pushed them back, and some of them you'll see staked. And a lot of this new mulch that we have around here is what we dragged over from.
Right. It's all pine needles. Pine needles are big here in the backyard.
Pine needles, cypress needles, cypress branches, you name it. The dragon fruit trellis held its own.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, the dragon fruit made it through with pretty much flying colors. There were a couple branches that you can see that got broken off here and there. Like there's one right there that just kind of, it was too small. But if you look up at the top,
dragon fruit's
it's going crazy.
Up there, yeah.
So it's
really
got like these like Medusa hair.
Right.
Just reaching out, climbing everywhere.
Did really well.
More orchids. We have my vanilla vine. It's actually attaching to this tree now. It was out here before the hurricane, but it was just out here. I put it out maybe a week before the hurricane came. But it's finally putting out new growth, and we're actually getting some roots that are attaching. So hopefully next year we'll have some vanilla flowers and maybe vanilla beans.
Right on.
Who knows?
This is where our Barbados cherry tree used to be, so
Rest in peace.
Right, we got another one and planted it elsewhere.
Some sad news though, our little neighborhood beehive that was here when we moved in just little bees going and coming and going. The water was just too high, and I think they all got trapped inside, so they either drowned or suffocated, and now that tree is just a tree. It's not a house to bees anymore, and it's not even one of the trees that fell over, which is sad, because if it had fallen over, we could have gotten like the comb or the honey or something out, but it was just a loss.
They drowned.
And our big grapefruit tree, you can see the remains of it.
Yeah, that's a shame.
It's like a 50-foot grapefruit tree loaded with probably, what would you say, like 100 grapefruits.
Tons of grapefruits, right?
Yeah,
I'm going to point right there in the picture. That's all grapefruits.
Yeah, all those.
Yeah, that's a shame.
But
the good thing is that everything Matt designed and built stayed. It lasted, or it bested the hurricane. This trellis here of the passion fruit didn't go anywhere.
One of our passion fruits did die back, and we thought it was gone, but if you look really closely, you can see tiny little green leaves coming back out now. So it'll fill back in, and one is going strong, and the other one will catch up, I think.
Right.
But here's the big development since Irma. We actually got our gardens planted.
Right.
So we'll give you a mini tour, because that's not really what this one is. This is just kind of to show everybody how we've bounced back a little bit from Irma, but
and where we are, this is prime growing season.
yeah, and in Florida, because it's so hot in the summertime, in the fall, and the early spring, like not spring even, I would say January and February.
Right.
There are 2 growing seasons. One starts in September, October, and one starts January, February. So if you try to get in early, you can probably get 2 crops in, which is what we're going for. So here's all of our broccoli, and something ate one of my things, butt faces. But here is broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower. We have our eggplants that survived Irma and are still going strong.
Right. Got one down here. Yeah.
Whole bunch.
Right.
The sweet potato vines are going crazy, and we've actually eaten some sweet potatoes from our
they were good.
vines. They were really good. The pepper plants survived, and if you look, you can see they're already flowering and getting ready to start more. So instead of buying new ones, we have staked these ones up and cut them back with the help of the goats eating them.
Right.
And it triggered them to send out a whole bunch of new little shoots. So it's probably a good thing the goats pruned them for us. Those are all of our hot peppers in with sweet potatoes, and these are all of our sweet peppers in with. We've got.
And these survived too.
Yeah, and these are all from before too. You can see they're really woody stems, so that means they're old and they've got a good root system. And they're actually sending out a whole bunch of new flowers and everything. So
down here,
this right here is kohlrabi.
Okay.
Down here we've got squash and zucchini mixed in with our peppers. Over here we have tomatoes and carrots. You can look, all these little things that look like grass. Right here are carrots.
Okay.
And over here we've got lettuce, beets, and radishes. Radishes for Grandpa. And then over there, Don's going to take you over and show you the corn.
Right. Matt planted rows of corn, so we've got tons.
Well, not so much, because I had one package left from the spring, and I thought that maybe the spring I planted the corn too late.
It was disappointing.
But I'm thinking that it might have been the batch of seeds I got, because if you can look, I ran out right there, and so I used what I had left over from the spring seeds.
All the way down.
And nothing has grown.
Came up in that 4th row.
So I'm thinking that it might have been too late, but it was also a combination of bad seeds.
Yeah, I think it was bad seeds.
And then here's the ginger, more sweet potatoes, and our herb garden we've got. We threw a couple tomatoes in there with the herb garden, but mostly this is like basil, thyme, parsley, rosemary, sage, dill. Help me out, Don. What else am I missing?
No clue.
Tarragon, oregano, blah, blah, blah. A ton of stuff. Okay.
So we're going back to where all the citrus trees are, and I think, did we lose any citrus trees at all?
No, not back here.
No, so everything is here. All the citrus trees are still going strong. They look pretty good. We had to stand a couple of them up because
they were knocked over.
They were knocked over, but
they
all have new growth on them, so we're doing pretty good there.
This one right here Probably
is
suffered more from goats than from hurricane.
they do like the leaves.
Like they've been eating the leaves and the stems
Yeah.
because this young of a tree, they really just get a hold of it and just
right.
take
So
it.
the goats aren't allowed in the garden area anymore.
So yeah, they've been put on probation.
Probation. That's right. But we'll go visit
Oh,
them now.
and if you remember seeing the pictures, I think I took pictures, and during the video, you couldn't even see any of this
Right.
because up in the top of that, you can see the top of that tree broken,
Oh, yeah.
fell.
Right.
Limbs up from the pine tree above
was
us broken. Like this was
completely
just
covered with trees.
water and trees.
Right.
We couldn't even open this gate because this tree right here had fallen
Right.
onto it, and now this gate doesn't close quite right.
Right.
So we got to figure out, because it bent this. So this used to be really tight and taut,
Yep.
but it pushed it all the way over. So now we've got to figure out some way to pull this
Right.
back this way after it's already been cemented in. So that's going to be
Yeah.
fun.
That'll be a challenge.
Here we've got sugar cane growing that our neighbor gave us. It was awesome. From one stalk of sugar cane, I got, I don't know, how many
Lot of
plants is
pieces.
that? Like 10 plants. The
And
goats
Love it.
love it.
And they try to reach through the fence to eat it.
It's really cute if they weren't such demons.
Yeah, well. All right, you two, come on.
Come on, babies.
This way. Come on.
Come on, babies.
Come on.
Come on.
We're dependent on them to follow us and not go in after the sugar cane. All right. So now, as you can tell, anytime we walk into the goat area, the animal area, the goats are very happy to see us. And so all of this stuff was underwater, had trees down. There's one tree that's still down, but we're leaving it there because the chickens like to climb on it. But all of this back here was just trees down and underwater. Took about a week for it just to drain.
Oh, let's take him back and show him
And
what
then-
we worked on back in the back.
Yeah, and then finally, after it drained, we could start getting to work. And getting to work just entailed chopping down trees and hauling them. So we had 3 sections of brush that we had to haul. One is out front. We haul everything to the street. FEMA will come and pick it up. We had one huge line halfway back, and that we burned. And then we have the way back, and what we did with that is we just put it towards the back of the property so you can see everything that we had to all the way down there, all the way down. So it was no fun for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it felt like we were just, all we did was get up,
Cut.
cut trees, get completely covered in sawdust and sweat and bug bites, and then go into our house that had no air conditioning.
And remember, we had no electricity during that time. We were 11 days without electricity.
And we're on a well, so we didn't have water because
Right.
we didn't have electricity. So we were taking bucket showers, and oh, you were happy you weren't here.
Fun times. So the fence held up pretty well. We have a couple sections that we have to repair, but it did pretty well.
Yeah, like you can see behind you, an area where we
Yeah, that's one area where we need to
a tree
repair.
fell on it, so we have kind of straightened it and bent it back up. But eventually, it's going to need to be either restretched or some
Right.
posts or something to help.
More of
secure
the destruction that we had to haul.
Like up there, you can see the sky, whereas before you could never see the sky. Like this tree, the top got cleared off.
Right.
The pine tree there, the top is gone. I mean, basically, if you look at every tree back here, you can see something is missing.
Right. It's a lot lighter. It lets in a lot more light back here now. This one came up. We left this one because the goats like to climb on it.
So
But you can see it just uprooted this old tree.
There's this fence that completely,
And
like,
yeah, the
pushed it
fencing,
over.
right.
One of the trees from in here was falling this way, which is funny because I don't know how, but you have trees falling one way and trees falling
I
the other
know.
way. The chicken playground we left now because
Right, the chickens have things to climb on. They can do parkour now because we're leaving those trees right there.
yeah, they do. They like to climb all the way up to the top, and then another one will come up, and the other one's trying to get down, and then it's a big commotion because one's
Right.
trying to get down and one's trying to get up.
The biggest relief we had though was that the goat barn and the chicken coop both stayed upright and in place. So good deal. You can see on the corner that line going right there is a hurricane.
And
What do
if
you call
look
it?
at the
Tie.
back, hurricane anchor. And if you look
Right.
at the back corner, the shed, it's actually bent because a tree fell on the goat shed.
Right.
And I think it must have broken one of the 2x4s in the ceiling, but the metal is holding in everything in place.
Right.
So,
Minimal damage. We were really lucky.
the chickens made it through with flying colors in
Yes,
the
they
neighbor's
did.
garage.
Yes, they did. So, and we can see how big they are.
Oh, and Beak Arthur's out again.
Yay.
But yeah, they're a lot bigger than they were.
They're about a month away from laying now. So we're gonna have eggs soon. 31 chickens. And one of them has escaped over there. See her?
And that's Beak Arthur, and she escapes every
Yeah.
day.
Every day she gets out. Here's more of our fencing problems, but we'll get to that. It won't be long.
Come on.
So out here we did have some damage
Hold that open for me so I can see you close.
with I'll let her go. We'll get her later. We had some damage to the banana trees and all of these, and Pip's eating it. You could see the carambola tree is dead. It drowned, I think. And the plantain tree is coming back. So that's pretty good. These were beautiful trees, and they were just,
Like full of
Yeah.
lush green leaves.
yeah, just beautiful.
I mean, obviously they're bananas, but very tropical looking.
But a lot of them have like the little baby trees coming out too, in the right next to them. So we're happy about that. Down at the end is the new Barbados cherry tree that we got. We decided
on
to,
higher ground.
yeah, we decided to plant it over here because it's higher ground. So we'll see what happens. And then,
Actually, it's got little flowers and cherries on it.
yeah,
If you look, here's some cherries.
very nice.
And if you look back here, there's some pink flowers getting
yeah.
ready to open up.
Right.
And
Good.
just scattered throughout. So I'm gonna have to come out here. The back is loaded. Holy wow! I didn't
Yeah.
even notice this. Look at this, Don. Look at all these flowers back here,
Oh yeah,
and all these. Here's a big cherry.
nice.
So wow, yeah.
Our neighbor hasn't been here, but he's got some work to do too. His
Yeah,
yard's
he's got a lot of work to
a
do.
mess, yeah.
Like
So-
they cleaned the front of it up really.
Right. So our guava trees all did well. The goats love them,
Look at
as you can
Binky.
see, right?
Binky,
She got a mouthful.
steaming.
And Matt was grinding stumps today and yesterday from some of the fallen trees. And we did lose our avocado tree right there.
Yep,
It's
gone.
dead. Yep.
And here's the fire
So this is
pit
our
that's in
burn.
perpetual burn.
Right. Every weekend it seems we have more and more to burn, so we just keep hauling it and burning it. Hauling it and burning it. But this middle area is all cleaned out, so it looks a lot better now. And we've got,
So all those
Our
logs
mango
are from
trees.
trees that we kept too.
right,
When we cut them up, and I don't know if you saw along the fence back there, what we did with big logs that were, relatively straight, we tried to use them in some way, either as anchors for the base of a fence to keep animals from digging under, or those are a lot of cypress trees, and it's got a really pretty wood grain, so
Right.
hopefully once it cures, we can take and get a chainsaw mill, and we can actually start making our own lumber for things like tables
that'd be great.
and stuff. So
Yeah. So that is pretty much where we are right now. We feel like we're done with most of it, the heavy stuff. Now it's just little stuff and then replacing some fencing, and I think we're golden. So that's our update. We'll leave you with Pip trying to eat a mango tree.
Oh,
Oh, and a nice binky. Have a great night, everyone.
see ya.